episode 322 of the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. Well, I guess if Trump can't stop it, he's going to join it. Let's start the show.
We are now the defenders of the stronghold of democracy and of equal opportunity.
You and I, as citizens, have the obligation to shape the debates of our time, not only with the votes we cast, but with the voices we lift.
The people are looking for honest answers, not easy answers.
The very word secrecy is repugnant.
Clear leadership.
And we are, as a people,
not false claims and evasiveness and politics as usual.
opposed to secret society.
But ours was a nation of the
Secret
ballot,
oaths.
not the bullet.
And a secret procedure.
As a people, we cannot afford to let any group of citizens or any individual citizen live or labor under conditions which are injurious to the common welfare.
Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
Welcome to the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. I am your host, Chris Hahn. I am at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Those are my socials. Thank you for liking, rating, reviewing, and subscribing to this podcast. Man, we got a lot to talk about. What a week. I mean, if you really think about what's going on right now, people want to say that there's battle lines being drawn in both parties. That the Democrats are going to be divided over Mondami in the far left, and the Republicans are blistering over the MAGA movement, disintegrating, but really under its own weight, right? I mean, they put so much faith in this guy, Donald Trump. I mean, he is the MAGA movement. He created the MAGA movement, right? And it was a movement of blind faith and adherence to whatever he says, right? Whatever he says is the rule. Everything else is fake. This is the thing I never understood. In Trump land, there could be evidence from multiple sources pointing to something wrong with his thinking, with the story he's telling you. He would call it fake. And his followers would follow blindly. Blind allegiance. That was the word I was looking for. And as I've preached often on this program, no one should have a blind allegiance to a politician. Politicians work for you. It's like saying you have blind allegiance to your barber, and then he gives you a haircut that is, out of a sci-fi movie or something. You're going to still go back to that barber? Having blind allegiance to your stockbroker who loses all your money. You're going to go back to him when you get more money, if you get more money? Politicians work for you. And if they tell you they're going to do something and they don't do it, then it is time to not support them anymore. It's time to hold them accountable. And there are many ways to hold them accountable, right? You could support another candidate. You could stay home. You could stop posting their every word on your social media accounts. But most importantly, you can elect people who promise to hold those people accountable. That's the point of checks and balances in American government. And I would imagine that 2026 is going to be a checks and balances election. And I know Republicans are going to try to hang Mondami around everybody's neck and call Democrats socialists. As I have said to you before, and I will say it to you again, I don't think endorsements matter in politics. I surely don't think saying somebody is somebody else matters. I get it. Republicans are salivating. This might be their only chance to save themselves. No. You got to ask yourself the question to voters all over this country. There might be some, exceptions here, right? Like the counties right around New York City. But for voters in, I don't know, Iowa, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, California, what's going to matter most is Trump. Because every election since the man came down that golden escalator has been about him one way or the other. He has made it about him. He will make 2026 about him. As much as the Republicans are going to try to make this about somebody else, he's going to make it about himself. He cannot help himself. Now, the Trump-Marjorie Taylor Greene feud is very mesmerizing to me. I've never been a huge fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene, but welcome to the resistance, Marjorie. She is pushing back on Trump's attempt to keep the Epstein files from the American people. You have to ask yourself, why? You know who Trump is. You know what he's all about. You know that his base has been clamoring for the release of the Epstein files because, of course, there's a certain percentage of his base that has been accusing every Democrat of being a pedophile for the last 5 years, more than 5 years. And if he wasn't going to be severely embarrassed by these files, believe you me, we'd all be reading them right now. We would be reading every dirty detail. Believe me, he is not trying to protect victims. The victims have come out and said release the files because they don't want to name names because they don't want to be sued. So what's holding him back? And are you now going to primary somebody who I believe was one of your biggest supporters up until a month ago? You're going to primary her because she wants to have justice for these victims? I mean, to me, that just smells of problems in there for him. I mean, the things that were released last week, the emails between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, they're damning. There's no other way to look at it. You want to say that they're not. You want to say, oh, he's fine. We always knew they were friends. Okay. He is the dog that has yet to bark. That's pretty. I want to know what he's going to bark about. Listen to this. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I am your host, Chris Hahn. I am at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Those are my socials. Thank you for downloading. If you're not already listening to me on the Aggressive Progressive Podcast, please download the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. And while you're there, hit subscribe and like and tell your friends about it. And watch me on News Nation. I'm on there a lot. You can check me out there. And again, if you got something to say to me, say it to me through my website. I don't update that site that often, but the link to my email address still works. So check me out there. So, I don't want to spend the entire program talking about the Epstein files. Although it has been fascinating to me. I mean, it just like spiraling out of control. That time a couple of months ago when this was all bubbling up, and he said to the reporter, Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That was the point where I said, this guy he's covering up something, right? This is not, what's in these files may not show that he did things. I don't know that that's going to be the case, and I'm skeptical that that's the case. The question is, what did he know? And when did he know it about this man's operation? I mean, there's an email from 2017 from Jeffrey Epstein to Maxwell where he said he will be seeing Donald Trump over Thanksgiving. Donald Trump was president of the United States in 2017. Least you forgot. Did they see each other in 2017? Are there other things in these files that suggest they might have? I don't know. I would like to know the answer to that. And what did they talk about in 2017? What did Donald Trump know and when did he know it? I mean, that's always the question. Did he know that his friend, Jeffrey Epstein, was running an international pedophile ring? I think he did. I think this is the problem for him. I think he knew, and he didn't say anything about it. He looked the other way. And, for all this talk about their big falling out, that supposedly happened years before he even ran for president. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein is communicating with Ghislaine Maxwell saying that they are going to get together over Thanksgiving in 2017, that should raise your eyebrows. That's just in one of the emails we saw last week. So, again, ask yourself, what did he know? When did he know it? And I guess you got to agree with him 100% of the time to be part of the MAGA movement, right? He's kicking Marjorie Taylor Greene out of the MAGA movement. Now, if I had to pick an elected official other than Donald Trump I most identify with the MAGA movement, it'd be Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She has been a huge Trump defender from the very beginning of her career. She has been a Trump acolyte, if you will. So, again, he wants to hold her accountable for trying to hold him to his promises, right? She has been saying things like release the Epstein files, but in addition to that, maybe focus on some of the domestic issues we have here in the United States of America, like rising prices and costs of living, something that he has not done. I think that criticism is cutting deeper than the Epstein files because she's not alone among Republicans. They're going to more than likely vote this week in the House of Representatives on the releasing of those files. And I think about 100 Republicans are going to vote with Democrats on this. It's going to be a broad, bipartisan resolution. And then it'll go to the House, and it'll pass if they vote on it with broad, bipartisan support. And then Trump will veto it, just for the record. We're not going to see them because of these votes. But if you're a Republican and you're thinking about not voting to release these files, know that they will eventually come out, right? The truth always has a way of coming out. And when it does, and it might not be anytime soon, it might be years from now, but when that truth comes out, your constituents are going to want to know what side of the truth were you on, right? Did you stand for the women who were victimized, or did you stand for the pedophiles who victimized them? Representative Massey, who's been a frequent critic of Trump's from the right, said over the weekend, Trump is only going to be president for 3 more years. This is going to long outlive Trump. Your constituents are going to want to know, why did you stand with these pedophiles? And that's really, if you're not voting to release these files, you could justify it any way you want. You could try to justify it any way you want. But if you're not, that's the ultimate thing here. You are standing with people who victimize underage girls. Underage girls. My old friend Megyn Kelly the other day said something shocking to me. Absolutely shocking. That these were girls who were 15 but looked like they were 18. Let me tell you something, Megan. First of all, you went to Albany Law School. They definitely teach you what statutory rape is. You know better. You also have a young daughter of your own. You know better. Having a grown man having sexual relations with a 15-year-old is rape. It is pedophilia. And it is horrible. And that's what it should be called always. So I hope that she takes that back. I really do. Because I've known her a long time, and I genuinely have liked working with her. But that is kind of ridiculous. Breaking news, to the extent you can actually have breaking news on a pre-recorded program. Breaking news from yesterday. So Donald Trump is going to support the House having a vote on the Epstein files. which he was going to lose miserably. Okay, great. He has not yet announced if he's going to support the U.S. Senate doing it or whether or not he would sign the bill. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure he'll come up with some reason. He just doesn't want us talking about it. He wants us talking about his successes. You know, his successes, like everything costing more since he's been in office and people having less access to health care, flights being delayed and canceled. By the way, not just because of the government shutdown that ended last week, but flights were being canceled long before that because air traffic controllers were leaving in droves because they were concerned about Doge cuts. So, you know, keep in mind, he wants us talking about his successes, you know, like the tariff program, which made your cup of coffee in the morning cost more, which is, by the way, breaking news. He's now getting rid of that too. He wants us to applaud him for what will soon be a reduction in the cost of coffee and other imported items, commodities particularly. No, you don't get to start a fire and then get applauded because you put it out, right? That's the fireman arsonist theory. We don't do that here. We don't applaud you for solving the problem you created by undoing what you did, right? Because that's what he's trying to do here. He's trying to say, look at me. I've done this, and it's not going to work. And it doesn't matter. It's too late. The damage has been done. The American people are wise. They are wise to your game, Mr. President. The jig is up, as they say. It's up. It's over. We know. Even people who might be listening to me right now who are conservative know. They know that the man has no ability to solve our problems. He cannot deliver on his promises. What were his promises? He was going to make things more affordable. You feel like things are more affordable? They are not. He wasn't going to engage us in any stupid wars. So why is there an aircraft carrier off the coast of Venezuela? Why is he threatening to invade Nigeria, a country with 240 million people? Where was that? Oh, what was the other promise? He wasn't going to weaponize the DOJ. Oh, he's weaponized the DOJ. Okay. So he hasn't, he was going to release the Epstein files and be more transparent. Where are they? I mean, he says that he's going to support the House votes, right? That's what we just talked about. Okay. Let's see. He could release the Epstein files right now. He doesn't need the House to vote. He could just do it if he wanted to do it. So do it. What are you worried about? What are you afraid of? What's in there? Something's in there. Something's in there that is bothering him. Maybe it's not about him. Maybe it's about somebody close to him. But knowing this man as we know this man, it is highly unlikely that it has nothing to do with him directly. Must have something to do with him directly. Because he doesn't really stick up for other people. I mean, maybe he would stick up for his sons a little bit. Or Melania a little bit. I don't know. But a lot of pictures of him partying with Epstein. A lot of pictures of him and Melania hanging out with Epstein and Ghislaine. Like to see what's in those files, right? Like to see what the FBI has uncovered. Now, if we're ever going to really see all of it. Because God knows, what they've been doing with it in this time. Do you trust that they're that they're going to be doing everything that needs to be done here to make sure that we are seeing everything that's available, everything that the FBI has uncovered in its multiple years of investigating, decades really, of investigating this man. This goes back to the Bush administration, the W. Bush administration. So, where are we? It might even precede that. It might go back to the Clinton administration. And, before you get on me, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If Bill Clinton's in there, did something untoward towards an underage girl, then okay. Let's have consequences for that action. I'm not opposed to that. And again, just like I've been saying about Donald Trump, I think we would have heard of it. I'm just saying, too high profile of a guy for us not to have heard. But if it's in there, good. Let the chips fall where they may. I don't care. He's trying to say this is all about Democrats, that Jeffrey Epstein only had Democratic friends. Well, Donald, you were his friend. You were clearly his friend. What were you doing with him? Why are you afraid to let the world see what's in those files? You must know what's in those files. I'm sure Pam told you. Pam ain't going to leave you out to dry. She ain't no Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's right there with you. Listen to this. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I am your host, Chris Hahn. I am at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Those are my socials. If you're not already listening to me on the Aggressive Progressive podcast, make sure you download it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, hit subscribe and tell your friends by sharing it any way you can. I'm watching me on News Nation. I'm on there all the time. So News Nation, news for all Americans. So, while we're talking about Pam Bondi, Trump's designated attack dog, right? He says, Pam, I want you to investigate Larry Summers and Bill Clinton's role in the Epstein files. And she's right on it, right? And he's talking about it in the Oval Office on Monday, saying, oh, yes, there's going to be some investigations of some Democrats. There's some investigations going on of Democrats. We've heard some things about them. It has nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing in there about me. He says investigate James Comey. They fire a U.S. attorney who was unwilling to do it. They appoint, Trump's personal attorney, probably illegally. And she's right on it, right? Pam Bondi ain't messing around. She is Trump's, attack dog. Purely. So, but here's the thing. I know they're hypocrites. They know they're hypocrites. But the obvious hypocrisy that comes out of the DOJ on a daily basis blows my mind sometimes. Case in point, Pam Bondi is suing the state of California over its ballot measure that passed to redistrict the state. Mid-year, mid-decade redistricting. They're suing them over it. Now, let's be clear. What they did in California was different from what they did in Texas. In California, the governor put a ballot initiative on the ballot, which could have failed. The voters could have voted it down. And the ballot initiative amended their constitution and approved a new map, one time only, amending their constitution to do that in response to Texas's horrible mid-year gerrymandering, by the way, which is actually not going to net them 5 seats. I think it's going to net them 3 seats. California will net 5 seats. Texas will net 3. Just mark my words on that. Based on what I am seeing in the polling data about where Latinos are going, unless they make a huge shift back towards Trump, which given ICE's activities, I can't see that happening, it's 3 seats, not 5. And maybe even one of those other seats falls because, what's this wave going to look like? Right? If things keep going in the direction they're going in, the wave is going to look pretty bad. Could be a 12 or 13 point wave. That means if you're in an R12 or an R10, you're in a district that could fall. I'm just saying, watch this space for that. And here's the other thing, Democrats. Don't blow it. I'm talking to you suburban Democrats who think that you need to make your campaign about how you're not Zoran Mamdani. So unless you are running for city council, Zoran Mamdani should not be the issue in your campaign. You're running for Congress. And that's a federal office. And everybody knows Trump is bad at his job. Yes, Republicans are going to throw Mamdani at you. But if you allow this campaign to be about who is going to be tougher on Mamdani, you will lose. Right? Because clearly They will vote for the person who is not technically in Mamdami's party. We get it. Some of you suburban Democrats are not Zoran Mamdami. We get that you're not socialists. We understand. When they ask you about him, your response should be like every other suburban candidate. Who cares who the mayor of New York City is? I'm running for Congress to stop Donald Trump, who has made America unaffordable by his own policies, right? Usually when we talk about the economy, I find it hard to hold presidents accountable for the economy because they have very little to do with it on most cases. But when you start throwing tariffs on things Americans buy every day, hoping to reindustrialize the United States of America. And think about that for a minute. Noble cause. I would love to see the reindustrialization of the United States of America. The problem is, when we envision that, we envision hundreds of people working in factories making things. Now what you're going to have is hundreds of robots working in factories and like two guys with a laptop running the place. Just keep that in mind. Okay? Yeah, I think we are going to start building factories in this country again to build things. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of people working in them. So if you're thinking that, we're going to have great jobs in factories, we will have great jobs in factories. There'll be high-tech jobs in factories. There ain't going to be a lot of people screwing, in bolts, and working table saws. That's not going to be happening anymore. Those days are over. New factories that get built anywhere in the world are going to be almost completely automated. They could run 24/7 and have 5 people working there. Just keep that in mind. But that's what he wants you to think. He wants you to think that his tariffs are going to lead to this. Yeah, his tariffs might lead to a quicker automated factory being built somewhere, and it's going to cost you probably for the next 10 years until that happens, right? That's his policy. So prices are high today. But, again, that speaks nothing to, bananas, which we can't grow here, or coffee, which we can't grow here anywhere but Hawaii. It's his fault, and the American people know it. Yeah, they're not sleepwalking through it this time. I mean, they walked through the election. They understood why this guy, they've forgotten, why this man should not be president. They've forgotten why they voted him out in 2020. It wasn't just COVID, America. In 2018, there was a huge blue wave across this country. Democrats elected all over the place. In places they hadn't been elected before. Democrats took a huge majority in the Congress. And it was because he was incompetent. And then COVID came. And, I thought at the beginning of COVID, here's an opportunity for Donald Trump to actually show that he can be a leader. For Donald Trump to surprise us all and lead us through this crisis. And had he done that, he would have been reelected in a landslide, just kind of like Rudy Giuliani after 9/11. He had 3 great weeks where, he actually led, and I was there, I saw him do it. And then, again, we forgot everything else he did for the 8 years he was mayor, which wasn't great, by the way. And then, of course, he threw it all away, supporting Donald Trump and be-clowning himself on Trump's behalf. But he didn't do it. And now the American people are wise to his game, right? I mean, I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes piece over the weekend about the pardon. The man pardoned somebody who caused a $2.5 billion investment in his sons. And I'm using air quotes here. I know you can't see me because I'm audio only right now. I am going to be doing video soon again. Don't worry. It's coming. His son's stable coin. Right? His son's crypto business, $2.5 billion from Qatar, I believe, or it might have been UAE. Don't quote me on it. Dubai, whatever it was. He pardons this guy. Just, for the record, let's not talk about, Burisma and the $50,000 a month Hunter Biden was getting. By the way, bad, absolutely, not condoning it, but I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. I think it's time. I think it's time that we shine a brighter light on the pardons that this man has been handing out. They're pretty suspicious, if you ask me. We talk about politicians' wealth going up, and I know the right loves to talk about it. And again, I think it's something that should be discussed. that people are profiting from their time in public office. But let's look at this man's wealth and what happened to him, because I don't even think he was really a billionaire when he got elected president. But I'll tell you right now, he's a billionaire now, maybe 10, 12 times over. And maybe that's something we should look at why. It's there. It's there for the view. And maybe it's all legit. Probably some of it is. People want to be close to the president, and we don't have good laws that protect this kind of influence from happening. We don't. And maybe we need to do that. And I thought that after 2020, we would do some reforms in our Congress. I thought we would do some Trump reforms. We did none of it. The Democrats wasted the opportunity. America, let's hope that if we ever take power back, if the Democrats ever take power back from Republicans, and I think they will, let's hope they actually use it to make real reforms to our government to prevent this kind of really influence peddling from being legal and put real teeth in the law that enforces it. Missed opportunities. I think about this all the time, about the Biden administration and what they failed to accomplish, what Democrats failed to accomplish in Congress, the protections they should have put in for our republic, and they didn't. So much of what we think of as law in this country is just tradition. So yeah, Trump might not be breaking any laws, but he sure as heck is breaking our traditions. He doesn't care about them. He is not committed to them. And we just, missed the opportunity to fix it. We thought, there'll never be another Trump. And yes, there was another Trump. And it was actually Trump. Here we are. So let's hope we don't miss the opportunity next time we have it. All right. I'm going to remind you now, as I always do, to seek the truth, to question everyone and everything, even me. Seek the truth. I know it's out there, and I know you'll find it if you look for it. And I'll be back here again real soon to tell you the truth as I see it. I'm Chris Hahn. Thanks for joining me on the Aggressive Progressive Podcast.